Josh Thomson breaks down the UFC 314 fight between Paddy Pimblett and Michael Chandler, leaning towards Paddy for the win. While Chandler is tough and has solid submission defense, his recent losses, including the defeat to Charles Oliveira, have left a mark. His emotional connection to a potential McGregor fight that never happened has also affected his mindset. For Josh, Chandler's recent setbacks make it hard to imagine him bouncing back at this stage in his career. Paddy, on the other hand, is coming off a solid win over Bobby Green, and his youth and hunger for a title shot in the lightweight division give him momentum. Unlike Chandler, who may be mentally drained, Paddy is still on the rise and has everything to prove. A win over Chandler could catapult him into bigger matchups, possibly even a fight with someone like Ilia Topuria. Thomson points out that while Chandler has the power to hurt anyone, Paddy's hunger and mental edge could be the deciding factor. Chandler may have the experience, but Paddy has more to gain, making him the likely favorite for this exciting matchup.
I think that Paddy's going to have a hard time getting him out of there. If he does get him out of there, it'll be by knockout. It will not be by submission. I think that Chandler is still very difficult to submit, and I've said this repeatedly, like he's only got the one submission against him, and that was done by Dustin Poirier, and was able to catch him. Outside of that, I mean, he's one of those guys that will fight to the bitter end when it comes to submission attacks. He finds ways to get out of it. It's very difficult to get your arms under his chin, very difficult. He's really good at, fighting out of those. John Fitch-esque, I would say. He's very much like that. I just look at where he's at right now in his career. It's not there anymore. The 1 foot out, the falling out of the Conor McGregor fight, it deflates you. It really does kill your momentum in the fight. He didn't look at a title anymore. He looked at Conor McGregor as it was his red panty night. Beating Paddy doesn't really do much for him. It puts him back on the winning track. Yeah. But losing to Paddy puts him way back. Yeah, and look, I'm taking Paddy at minus 145.
Sean O'Malley and his coach Tim are very impressed by Topuria, not just the guy's physicality, but his mindset. He's built like a tank for his height, but what really stood out is the fact that he dropped his belt to go after Islam. No waiting around for pay-per-view points or easy defenses. He's chasing legacy, and that's rare. That kind of move tells you he's not in this for the money. He already has it. He wants big fights, real challenges. But the fight with Islam isn't a lock. Islam hasn't shown much interest in facing another featherweight moving up, and he's got his eyes on 170 instead. Meanwhile, Khabib is reportedly not on board with that plan, especially with Belal in the picture. Belal even said he'd move to 185 to avoid clashing with Islam, so the situation is getting messy. Topuria is ready, but whether Islam meets him halfway is a whole different story. Which title fight are you more excited for? Ilia versus Islam, or Islam against the winner of Belal and JDM? Leave your comments below.
He's so short. He's like 5'5".
He's got wide shoulders.
Fucking shoulders. But I'm glad he moved up. I'd rather watch him go fight. Him versus Islam is a fight to make, in my opinion.
It's badass because what he's doing, which you don't see many people do, is be like, fuck the pay-per-view points. I know they're probably not as much as they used to be, obviously, but still, he's saying, okay, I guarantee could get the pay-per-view points next fight on a big card, or nope, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just going for this. He's got money in the family. It shows that money doesn't mean anything, and he's going for like fucking legacy fights. Crazy.
Yeah, there's an article that came out this morning that he said that the UFC promised him a title shot if he for dropping the belt. That's why he did it.
Well, isn't Islam saying he doesn't really want to fight him? He's like, I don't really want to fight another 45 or moving up. And Islam wants to move up and fight
for 85
at 170.
170, yeah. Belal.
Damn,
but Khabib said that can't happen. Belal and Islam can't happen because
Belal said he'd vacate and move up to 85 though.
Ilia Topuria just dropped some serious heat in his exclusive appearance on the PBD podcast today. Not only did he speak confidently about what's next, but he also revealed that recently, after being overlooked because of his size, he ended up beating up a nightclub bouncer. But that wasn't even the headline. Ilia doubled down on the promise Dana White gave him. His next fight will be for the lightweight title. Whether it's Islam Makhachev or, if Islam moves up, Charles Oliveira, Topuria's got next. His team is already diving into tape on both guys, preparing like the championship opportunity is already booked. When the topic of Arman Tsarukyan came up, he made it clear that Dana White will never offer him that fight because it doesn't make sense from a promotional standpoint. As far as Topuria is concerned, the UFC needs him fighting for the title, not against someone who doesn't boost his legacy or the UFC's storyline. Given the way Ilia has been tearing through the competition, it's hard to argue with his perspective. Here's Ilia Ilya's wild story about the bouncer.
At what point did the two of you guys build a reputation? Like, listen, don't mess with the Topuria brothers. Who's the biggest guy you ever took down?
The biggest guy,
Who's the biggest guy that tested you at a bar, at a, you know?
in trainings, it happens to me many times. Like a lot of big guys, like security guys that they were working in like as securities. They were coming to the gym, and when the time was coming for sparring, my coach was like, okay, go with Ilia. They were looking to me like, no, but he's too small, go with him. And I'm like, now you're gonna find out. And after that, I was going to that nightclub. They were like, oh, coming.
Respect.
Yeah.
Alexander Volkanovski thinks Ilia Topuria can absolutely beat Islam Makhachev. Volk recently shared his thoughts on a potential super fight during a sit-down with Daniel Cormier, and his take caught some fans off guard. Despite being a longtime featherweight king and someone who's gone 5 rounds with Islam himself, Volk believes El Matador has a real shot at pulling off the upset. He broke it down simply: if Makhachev loses, it's going to be because someone catches him early. And out of everyone, he thinks Ilia might be the guy to do it. Topuria's crisp boxing, explosive power, and fast hands make him extremely dangerous in those opening rounds. Volk pointed out that Ilia's takedown defense could help him survive long enough to land that one big shot, something few have been able to do against Islam. Over a full 25-minute war, Volk still sees Makhachev as the favorite. His pace, pressure, and grappling likely take over. But if Ilia can replicate what he did to Max Holloway, shutting things down before the later rounds become a factor, it changes everything. Volkanovski didn't deny the size difference between the two, but he emphasized that Topuria's explosiveness and precision are the X factors that make this a very intriguing fight. Everyone's been busy breaking down how Ilia Topuria would match up with Islam Makhachev. But what if Islam moves up and it's Charles Oliveira who ends up facing El Matador? That fight would be chaos. Charles brings a completely different kind of danger. He's not the same kind of smothering grappler as Islam, but he's far more aggressive, unpredictable, and lethal in scrambles. On the feet, Charles throws with reckless power, and he's not afraid to take damage to give some back, which could make for fireworks against Ilia's clean technical striking. Ilia would have to stay sharp defensively. Charles can get hurt, but he recovers fast and thrives in chaos. If Ilia rocks him and rushes in, he'd be diving straight into one of the nastiest submission games in UFC history. That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.